here. There we go. All right, now you can see me. Yeah, so I've tried with two different phones here. I tried with the old flip phone and with the smartphone, and they're blocking me. And I don't want to go through the hassle right now of changing my faking the caller ID. If you want to know how to fake your caller ID, I'm not going to teach you how to do that, but you can use Google search and YouTube search, and spoofing caller ID is pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy. It's not a secure system. There's no security in the caller ID system whatsoever. And the people who put it together were very naive and never thought that, never gave security a thought. So as a result, it's very insecure and very easy to manipulate the caller ID data. And I was just looking just to try it one more time. I'm sure it's not going to go through though. Yeah, that's the number. Let's give them a call one more time. I got a feeling it's going to be the same thing. But, well, I'm getting a busy signal. That's a good thing. If the number was actually disconnected or not in service, I wouldn't be getting a busy signal. Basically what they're doing is they're playing you a message. It's basically a voicemail message that says the number you've reached is not available or something along those lines, and it hangs up on you. It's not a real disconnection notice. So I don't want you to think for a minute, if you're getting the disconnect notice, that we've won and they've disconnected the number. They've just blacklisted your caller ID. If you block your caller ID, it's the same exact thing. So what they're doing is they're saying, you know, your Windows license has expired. They were telling me they wanted $500. I said, you know, it's an old computer. I'll just buy a new computer. And then they cursed at me and hung up on me. So obviously it's a scam. It's not real. I started calling them back and asking them, you know, what did I do to you to justify taking money from people you're scamming? What did anybody do to you to justify? And they just hang up on me. And then eventually, after I called 6 or 7 times, they blocked me. It was very difficult to keep them on the phone because they get right to business, pay us the money for your Windows license. And I said, what happens if I don't pay the money? And they said, well, your Windows will stop working. And I said, well, I'll wait till that happens, and then I'll just go buy a new computer. And then they basically cursed at me and hung up. So these are scams. I recommend, if you want to have some fun with these scammers, I want to remind you, there's nothing they can legally do for any repercussions. So things that would normally be illegal, like threatening people on the phone, there's no way for them to enforce that without exposing who they are. And you're not in their jurisdiction. They'd have to come into the United States and expose who they are to actually pursue any sort of legal claim against you. So you're pretty much free and clear to say and do anything you want to do. There's absolutely no repercussions from it whatsoever. You can obviously expose your phone number to them where they could call you throughout hours of the day and night. I've never experienced that, but I silence the ringer on my phone anyway when I'm not expecting any calls. You know, for example, when I'm going to bed, the ringer gets turned off and the phone sits on the charger, and I wake up and see what voicemails I have. That would be about the worst thing they can do, and they really don't have time for that. They're in the business of making money. They don't want to tie up their lines. So for us to tie up their lines, it really hits them in the pocketbook. It affects their business, and if we do it often enough over the course of the next couple of weeks, ideally, they'll shut that number down for real. But I just want to reiterate that getting the message that the number can't be completed as dialed or any of that other is a fake message. It's because you've been blocked. So it's not an indication of reality that the phone number actually does work. They think they're smart, and they're not. They're just really, really, they think you're stupid is what they do. So prove them wrong. And if you want to have some fun with them, record it. It's good times. These people, I hate to refer to them as people. They're as if we've gone back in time 200 years. They're devolved to where the human race was at about 200 years ago. These scammers, specifically, and these Indian scammers. And you know, regardless of how much I discuss this, a lot of people Indian pride take offense to that. And I'm sorry, these are your people that are doing this. Is your countrymen, and your country does nothing to, or little to nothing, to discourage them. And until your country does, I'm just going to call it as I see it. And I don't care if your feelings get hurt. People's bank accounts are being affected. People's livelihoods are being affected. And this is much, much, much more important than your silly feelings that are defying the reality of what's around you. So do us all a favor. Don't deny the reality of the community and the culture that these scammers in India have adopted. And I don't want to hear any excuses about it. And unless you're willing to stand up, become a government official in your country and actually do something to stomp it out, if you don't want to hear it, stop watching my channel. Do us both a favor, because I'm not going to sit here and play those games of suggesting that people's feelings are more important than reality and facts. That's not the case, and it never will be as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, I got a little bit of time to take some questions. The phone number, see my high-tech thing there, 480-271-2092. If you want to call with any technical questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And this is going to be a short session. I think I've got about an hour of time left on my battery. So we've got about an hour. If you want to call, 480-271-2092 is the number. If you have, once again, any technical questions. If you have other scammer phone numbers to share, go ahead and put them in the comments below the video. If you're watching this live, go ahead and join us in the chat room if you like, over at obviously on the video, on the page that you're watching the video. We've got about 176 people in there watching right now. And let's see, some nice compliments in there. Thank you, I appreciate that. And like I said, any technical questions, this is the time to call, 480-271-2092, taking your calls live on air right now. And let's just look through the comments, see what we got going on in here. And starting with our first call. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Wayne?
Hi, Wayne. What's going on?
Well, how you doing? I have a computer running Windows 10, but it's pretty slow. Should I downgrade to Windows 7?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, it's really laggy.
All right, well, I'm not sure what happened there. So if you've got a computer that's running slow on Windows 10, the worst thing you can do is go to Windows 7 or 8, because those operating systems are much more resource intensive. Windows 10 actually requires less resources than the OSs that came before it. It's the very first time Microsoft has done that. So I would suggest, if performance is important to you, put Windows 10 on in a fresh, clean install, and make sure that you have at least 8 gigabytes of RAM installed in your system, and all your drivers are current and up to date. And it should run acceptable, other than changing out your hard drive for a solid state drive, which is the only other thing you can do to make it faster. But you will have to spend some money. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Yeah, it's Rod Jackson in Melbourne, Australia. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm good, thanks. Calling all the way from Melbourne?
Just a quick one.
Sure.
A friend of mine had a problem with his computer. Instead of calling to do with his problem, he rang his provider, and his provider transferred him to a scammer, which locked up his computer.
Yeah, I've heard of this happening before.
And when his provider sent out 2 texts to look at his laptop, his guys, these 2 guys said, "Oh, you have to do your laptop, it's broken, I can't fix it." So I got a phone call from him, and I had to fix it in 2 hours. And while he was there, he was scammed. They tried to scam him for $15,000 out of his bank account.
So,
which is real bad.
So what did you do?
Well, he contacted his Telecom Australia, and they've actually paid him back, and he's getting free internet at the moment. But they found the guy in India that was scammed to, and also the person in Manila that transferred him to India. And they've both been charged.
And have you been able to fix the computer?
Yeah, it took me 2 hours.
You got
What he had on it was just an email, and he was running Windows 10 operating system. He had the disk, and all I did was just delete the partition, put Windows 10 back on it, and away she ran.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of this happening before where people have called their service provider and then the service provider transfers them or recommends them to call another number, and that number turns out to be a scammer. And of course, the best thing you can do is alert management of the internet service provider. If you have a recording of the telephone call, that always helps. And of course, know that if anybody's demanding any money at any point or suggesting that something terrible is going to happen if you don't pay, that's your first alert that whoever you're dealing with on the phone is not real. So I appreciate you sharing the story.
Yeah, no worries, Terry. No, I've been working with you for a while now, and I've been working on computer systems since about the 90s. I went through exactly the same with you when you were younger as well. I saw that video you put up, what happened to you when you were younger. I went through the same thing. So you and I have opposite sides of the world, but we're trying to do the same thing. Keep it up. Looking forward to talk to you again soon. Thanks, Terry.
All right. Well, thanks again for calling. I appreciate that.
No worries at all the way from Melbourne, Australia.
That's awesome. All right. Well, cheers, mate.
See you, bud. Bye.
Bye-bye. I love getting calls from around the world, and it was a little bit, the audio quality was a little bit fuzzy there, but basically, you know, he's saying he's in Australia, he's dealing with the same things as a computer technician that I'm dealing with, that I'm talking about halfway across the world in America. He's dealing with their same exact thing, same problems. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Yes, this is Brett from New Jersey.
Hey, Brett, what's going on?
This is Casey Holman.
Carrie, yeah?
Okay, because I'm watching your show, and I just want to know, how can I get to run on Windows 10?
How can
I'm
you?
very good at computers, but there's an old program that I have on CD, and I want to get it to run for Windows 10.
You want to get what to run on Windows 10?
An old program that I have on CD.
You may not be able to. You may not be able to.
Oh, so there's no, like...
It depends on the program. It depends on the program, the version of the program, what it was designed for. Ideally, you run old software on old computers if you, depend on older software. Prior than that, you can install like a virtual machine to install another operating system within your operating system. It's far too complex and time-consuming for me to get into on a live show. But
okay, because this was made for Windows 95, so
yeah,
there's really going back.
Yeah, ideally.
I just want to say that I started watching your program about 4 months ago, and I subscribed, and I like your channel.
Well, thank you.
Because I'm into computers myself, and any problems I do research on it, and it's just fun to watch you, though.
Well, I appreciate that. And like I said, when you have older software, the best thing I can recommend you do is maybe just do a Google search on virtual machines and see if maybe that can help you. If you want to get that involved and that technical into it, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time and investment. Or, the easiest thing is find an old computer somewhere with Windows 95 on it and throw the software on there and just use that software on that machine. And don't plug that machine into the internet and you'll be fine.
Yeah, but I'm bad about one thing with Windows 10 is it's going to be around for a real long time. So, so this way programs or drivers won't become obsolete when they keep changing to Windows 11 and the 12 of those,
Well, no, there's 3 different versions of... No, that's not changing. There's 3 different versions of Windows 10, and, if you have the latest version of Windows 10, the Creators Update, it breaks a lot of software that has to be updated to work with... That's where, effectively, Windows 10 right now is Windows 10.2. And it's very confusing to the consumer because Windows 10 has 3 different versions. and software has to be written specifically for that version or it's not going to work. So things are going to get real confusing in the future. But anyway, listen.
I like the Windows 10 creators update. I just like it because the performance issues are great for my i3 desktop because I experienced a lot of improvement in boosting, you know, whatever Microsoft did. So now they're looking out for the people, you know, the customers.
Well, I'm sorry, was there a question in there?
No, there was,
All right, listen, I'm sorry, I've got other calls.
No question. There was no, but I do appreciate you having these videos on these scammers because I get them all the time, you know.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, just trying to raise awareness about it so people don't get scammed. But listen, thank you so much for the call. I got to let you go.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, wow, calls are really starting to pour in here. If you have a question or a comment, 480-271-2092 is the number to get through. And yeah, well, can't. It's going to elaborate, but. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
James, you remember me talking to you, right?
Hi, James. What can I do for you? All right. We have to keep this moving. I've got calls that are pouring in, so just trying to keep things moving at a quick pace. Hi, caller. You're on the air. What's your name?
Doug.
Hey, Billy. What's going on?
Nothing much. I just wanted to tell you I love your content, dude. It is really awesome to learn about PCs.
Hey, thanks. I really appreciate that. I've got 2 more builds coming up here, hoping to start one tomorrow. And, you know, there's been a delay in content because of some life events that's been going on. But stay tuned. We got more great stuff coming up.
All right.
Hey, thanks for the call.
All right, bye.
Bye now. Yeah, there was a number of things that have happened in the last couple of weeks that have prevented me from putting out as much content. I'd like to put out new content every day if I could. And I've got the content to do it. Problem is finding the time. But some stuff coming up here I think you're going to like it. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Bob.
I'm sorry, one more time?
My name is Robert, R-O-B-E-R-T.
Hey, Robert, what's going on?
I'm doing okay. It's 2 cousins. I want to upgrade a desktop,
Yeah.
and I don't know what kind of Windows be good. What kind of Windows be good for me? I like playing games.
Well, the only choice you really have today is Windows 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other cousins, I'm a big fan of TV. I had Sam had to call me, and I think it was very funny.
What's that?
It said your Windows had no Windows that corrupted, and it told me to do all that stuff. I was like, I know you're a scammer. People don't call me no more.
Yeah.
Like, so we are not no scammer. I was like, Microsoft not gonna call your house.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we are not no scammers. I was like, I know where you're from. You're from India, sir. I know Indian accent from a mile away. But I'm not from India. I'm glad what he told me. I did say Detroit or someone on that way. I like,
You're being too nice to them.
I'm not nice to him. I cut them out.
Yeah, well, they sit there and they'll say, oh, no, we're not scammers. We're trying to help you. And then, of course, when you upset them, then they start becoming very unprofessional and they start cursing and clearly you're scammers.
Then he had called me and had to get.
Yep.
I like, don't call me Microsoft.
Yeah, they'll keep calling you anyway. You really got to waste their time. You're better off playing dumb and keeping them on the phone as long as possible.
Yeah, that's what I did. I like, this is my baby. I don't want my baby to be destroyed. I was holding on the phone for. It sounded like about one song. I ended off the phone call about 2 something. I sat on the phone for a while. Until he got madder and madder. I cussed him out too.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't do nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing. They can't do anything about it. Well, anyway, hey, thanks for sharing the story. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye now.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm delighted to raise the awareness on these scammers. Of course, they're going to say they're not scammers. Again, anytime they're demanding any kind of money for fear that something terrible is going to happen if you don't pay, that's not a sales call. That's a scammer for anything, whether it's IRS, the electric company, your water company. Those are all scams. Hi, caller. You're on the air. What's your name?
Hello?
Yes, what's your name?
Wide awake.
Wide Awake is your name?
Yep.
All right, what's going on?
Is this Carrie?
It is. What can I do for you?
Just want to thank you for all the wonderful content.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Do you have any? What's that? Okay. Well, that's nice. Listen, I appreciate the calls of people saying they appreciate the content. Certainly encourages me to make more versus the trolls, which discourage me from making more. Let's try this. Hi, caller. You're on the air. What's your name?
What's that?
Who's this?
Huh?
All right, we're going to go to the next one. Hi, caller. We're going to try this one more time. There's this weird delay that's going on with some of the callers. So we're going to try this one more time. And the number is 480-271-2092. Hi, caller. You're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, my name's James. How's it going?
Hey, James. Good. How are you doing?
Good. I got a question for you. I'm a computer technician. I've been in this for about 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And I read the book you recommended from Tim Taylor.
Yes.
And great book, by the way. Thanks for the recommendation. I'm looking to start my own business. And there's a lot of good stuff in there about service and how to deal with clients. And I know he mentions in the book about outreach. Is there anything you recommend for getting new clients other than cold calling that you've done in the past?
You know, I'm not a fan of cold calling, and even Tim explains in the book, neither is he. That's why he hires somebody to do it. Folks like Mike Smith, who I do the Tech Vets podcast with, swear by these networking groups like BNI, where you're sort of required to refer somebody at BNI, and they're required to refer you like 3 times a month. And there's a monthly fee or an annual fee. I'm not a social person. You know, I don't really want to mingle and network with people. So that doesn't really work well for me. I'm more of a word of mouth kind of guy. And so what I do is when my customer is happy, when I've completed a job, I let them know that I don't have any marketing budget and that all my work comes from referrals, and give them a few extra business cards and say, here's a couple extra business cards. You can lose a few that way. And if you know anybody that can use the services that I offer, I appreciate any referrals. And that way I don't feel like I'm backing anybody into a corner. I'm not pressuring anybody. It's just kind of matter of fact. And, it's hit or miss. Some people will refer you. Some people won't. Like I say, networking groups. I did the Chamber of Commerce thing. That was a waste of money and time. Stay away from sites like Craigslist or Backpage. Those, you don't want those customers. It's a tough nut to crack. That's one of the tough things about any business, and it doesn't matter if you're a computer tech or a restaurant owner. You've got to make people aware you exist, and how do you do that? And there's no magic bullet for that, or else everybody would be doing it, and we'd be right back to how do you stand out from the crowd. So you just go around in a big circle there. You just got to find something that you're comfortable with, and if you're not comfortable with it, hire somebody who is.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for your help.
Hey, well, good luck with your business.
Thanks again for the recommendation on that book. It was really good.
Yeah, just follow your passion on that, and experiment with things. See what works. Different areas, different things work in different areas.
Gotcha. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, well, thanks for calling. Bye now.
Good one. Bye.
Yeah, that's always the tough thing, right? It's like, okay, I got a business now. How do I get the customers? That's the hardest part of any business, is acquiring the customer. And what works in Florida may not work in Arizona. What works in some communities, especially smaller, tight-knit communities. Here we have retirement communities. In these individual retirement communities, word can spread fast, and that can be a great resource. Florida's got big retirement communities. Might be worth checking those out. Hi, you're on the air. What's your name? Hello? Yeah, so one of the things I did is I would give free presentations to the computer clubs that are in the retirement centers because I enjoyed it. And then I'd say, oh, well, this is who I am and this is what I do. And by the way, here's my business card. If you want to call, if you need computer service in the future, grab my card now and you'll have it. And I would get business that way. I didn't care if they called or they didn't. It was just a matter of, I'm here. If you like me, if you like the presentation I give, if I exude confidence, you believe I know what I'm doing, grab a card so you have it. When you need me, call me. And that has worked very well for me, and I enjoy the presentations nonetheless. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name? Hello. So yeah, the presentations for me worked out really, really well, but primarily because I enjoy doing the presentations. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Jordan.
I'm sorry?
Jordan. Like Michael Jordan.
Oh, Jordan. Hey, Jordan, how are you?
I'm good.
What's on your mind?
Hey, Kerry.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to thank you. It's been a long time coming. So many years, since 2011. At the beginning of 2011, I was an IT trainee at a vocational training center for computer repair. And, my instructor wanted to give me 12-chapter book, two of them, one for hardware, one for software.
Right.
And I'll tell you right now that I learned more from your instructional videos than I did trying to study everything I could from the books. At the time, I didn't focus a lot. So, everyone has their own way of learning, and it had to do with hands-on. At the school, we didn't have a lot of computers to work on. So I wanted to thank you, Kerry, because, I started my computer repair business here in Florida, and yeah, it's kind of rocky. Usually that's how it is. Like you said, it depends on the way it works with customers, depending where you are. But just like I want to thank my instructor on the path that he put me in, I want to thank you too. You're like my secondary instructor, but for you too.
Well, that's awesome. That's flattering. Thank you. I'm not much into academics. Academics are great about theory. There's an old expression that those who can do and those who can't teach. Kind of an insult towards teachers. But unfortunately, a lot of the vocational schools, from what I've heard from people, they have instructors that apparently know how to instruct, but aren't necessarily experts in their field. I'm more of a hands-on, real-world. I don't care about teaching the academics part of it. For the most part, I care about basically instilling the gist of it. Right, just saying, look, without getting too technical, here's the basics. And if you want to get more technical, there's plenty of other resources on the internet. What's missing is that bridge between the technical and the non-technical to just sort of go, here's the gist of it. And I basically want to teach in the way I wish somebody would have taught me. That's all it amounts to.
Right.
And I'm glad you appreciate that, because I know I sure would have. but sometimes I think I'm alone.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
One extra question.
Yeah.
How do you deal with, as far as computer repair, when you have customers or potential customers, they like to go and do the Google search.
Yeah.
But how can you, as a technician, compete with the information that's already online?
I don't.
That's the key, right?
No.
Make it available to them and point them out in that direction before they come to you as a technician.
No. Look, some people, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Some people have a lot of time and some people have a lot of money. Very few people have both. And the people who don't have much time will pay you to do things those are the customers you want. People who have a lot of time, those aren't the customers you want. Those are the people that are going to research their own problems and, have spend all this time comparing you to the competition and shopping around and trying to fix it themselves. I don't want those customers. They're welcome to go do whatever they want to do. I don't care. I want to deal with the people. If somebody's running a business as an accountant, they need to be spending their time doing accounting, not changing out hard drives or running virus scans. If they're doing that, they're not running a smart business. They need to hire somebody who's an expert that can come in there and not only clean up that virus, but ensure they won't get another one that affects their productivity so that they can focus on what it is they do, and I'll focus on what I do. If somebody wants to be a jack of all trades, they want to do all their own repairs and take time away from their business, or because they've got time, maybe they don't have a business, and they're looking for the cheapest way out and to do it yourself. There's plenty of resources on the internet that they can follow, and they can do it on their own, and it'll cost them nothing but their time. Again, I don't want those customers. I don't compete with them. I don't try and change their mind. Just there's 7.5 billion people on this planet. Billion. 7.5 billion. So I'm focused on handling the professionals who value their time and also understand the value of my time. So when I do send them the invoice, there's no argument or complaint. That somebody with a lot of time on their hands might say, why did you charge me this instead of that? And these other people would have charged me less. Or they call you 2 months later, and those people are the ones, generally speaking, that will be the most difficult ones to support, the ones that will call you the most that will demand the most and pay the least. I don't want them. So I don't, my answer to you is I don't try to steer them away from whatever direction they're heading. They can go there without me. It's not what I do. And they can't change what I do to accommodate them. So when people when people first start out in business, and I made the same mistake, they take on jobs they shouldn't take on and get paid less than they would normally charge because they say, I need the work. And it's the worst mistake you can make. You're better off turning the work down, because when you do it, you set a precedent. And then they start to expect it from you. And then when your business gets busy, they start getting angry, and they may leave negative reviews and do all kinds of things to retaliate that you're not giving them the support and the value you once did because you had to. Now you don't have to, and you don't want to do it anymore, and now they're upset about it. So best to not even get involved with those people, in my experience.
All right, yeah, that's exactly, that's practically the first percentage, I would say maybe 10% at the beginning of the computer repair that I started doing. I had so many difficult customers.
Yeah.
Like you said, some of them would say, well, I need you to do all this. I don't really feel like the amount that you're charging is worth, you say, well, I can charge you based on the hours that I put into it. There's a lot of factors in there, the cost of parts, the labor. But you're right. It really depends on the type of customers that you're looking for, because at least I didn't like having to deal with difficult customers. And still till this day, I still have to deal with those type of customers.
Well, listen, if you're
it's not really a have to so much as I know you try to avoid it. And that's the difficult part, because at least in the area that we live in, like as far as Florida, I live in the Miami area. And in the Miami area, it's kind of difficult to find that the type of customer that will just let it be, just accept the way, like the terms, like accept the way that things are supposed to be done.
Well, listen, a customer doesn't go into Best Buy and make up their own rules, and they shouldn't be making up their own rules with you either. You have to give them permission and consent to do that. So what I recommend is, there's for what you're saying, the alternative is there's a lot of rich people in Miami, a lot of them. You can look at some of the most expensive cars driving up and down South Beach and things like that. There's a lot of money in Miami, and you want to focus on that group. You want to focus on the business folks and not the home folks. The people at home, they're too inconsistent. They don't regularly require you. The people that are running a business, those are the people that you want, and as their business grows, ideally you get them when they're small, and as they grow, you grow with them. That's great. And there's another great book, it's called The Pumpkin Plan, and it talks about how farmers grow these giant pumpkins, or world record breaking pumpkins, around October, Halloween time, and how they do that. And it's all about picking the weeds. Your garden or your customers, and if you have weeds, they're taking nutrients and away from the thing you're trying to nourish and grow, which are the pumpkins, the big pumpkins. You even got to pull the small pumpkin. These others. So what they do is they plant a bunch of pumpkins, right? And you look and see which ones are growing, and you don't just pick one. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. But you pick a series of these pumpkins that are big, and all the smaller ones you pull because they're stealing nutrients away from the larger ones. And then you've got to go pull the weeds because they're stealing nutrients also. And so in a way, this is a very good analogy to business because some of your customers are weeds. And you want to focus on those customers that are going to grow and have need for you regularly. And look into something like managed services that you can provide to businesses where you bill them by the month to take care of everything. You're just like a one-stop shop. Whatever you need, you call me. And then you have a regular income coming in, and they have a regular IT budget that they can plan out for the year. It's beneficial to everybody. And as their needs grow, so do your fees.
Right.
And then, of
All
course...
right, well, thank you, Kerry. Thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate the call. Have a good one.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah, so the idea is that you develop a niche. That you suddenly, I don't know, you have a couple of customers that are, I'm going to go back to being accountants, right? You have a couple of customers that are accountants, and you specialize in QuickBooks or Quicken or Lacert or, one of these accounting software packages. There's a bunch of them. I can't even name them all. And then before you know it, you can be the go-to guy for all accountants in your area or tax preparers. And now you can charge more because you're a specialist. And now you're really not dealing with consumers because they don't use that kind of product unless they have a small business. And because they're running a business where backups are important and antivirus is important and things like that, your services are needed. And again, being a specialist in a particular area is what can drive your value up versus being, I'm just a tech that can fix whatever, no job too big, no job too small. And that's where you'll always stay, in my opinion. You'll stay. You won't have any. You won't be focused on big job. Every day will be different, and the amount of money you'll make will probably be somewhere in the middle. When you specialize, when you create that niche, that's where the money goes up, your value goes up, and people really appreciate the value of your time and your expertise. You are treated differently than you're treated generally by the end user, the consumer. So just keep that in mind when you're running your own business. And again, running a business isn't for everybody. Being the tech is only half of the business, and it's not the important half. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name? Yep. Hi, who's this?
What is this number about?
What's that? All right, we're going to try this again. So if you want to call 480-271-2092, that'll get you on, get you through. And if you text this number, I'm not going to see your text, so. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
My name's Steve.
Hi, Steve. What's going on?
Well, not much. I just wanted your opinion on something.
Okay.
Because I figure your opinions, even if you're not knowledgeable in the area, are better than most people's facts.
If you say so.
My problem is that I've got an 8370. I'm having trouble 4K streaming. It's fine with H.264, but not with H.265. The server's not powerful enough. So I was wondering, do you think a Ryzen 7 would be powerful enough for my problem, or should I go to a Threadripper?
Well, you're not making video, you're just trying to watch it?
Yeah.
And what are you using? What's your media player?
Plex.
So you're streaming it?
Yes.
And your internet connection's good enough for streaming 4K, or are you streaming it locally?
I'm streaming it locally
And what CPU do you have now?
with fiber.
What processor, what's your configuration now?
I've got an 8370 chip with
Well, that's your graphics.
RX
Wait. Is that your...
an RX 480 and 32 gigabytes.
That should stream 4K without a problem.
It does 264, but not 265. It breaks up and it says eventually the server is not powerful enough.
You know, I've not really messed around with 265 a lot. I haven't really cared for that compression. I haven't really seen, like all the smart TVs, I haven't seen one that decompresses 265 on any smart TV. I would think any modern CPU should handle that. I would even think what you've got should handle it. I'm surprised with 32 gigs of RAM. Was it Windows 7, 8, or 10?
10.
I would think that should work fine. I'm surprised.
So you don't think at any rate I need to go to a Threadripper?
If you're
Ryzen
creating,
7 would be enough.
if you're creating 4K content, then a Threadripper would be great. But
I'm not. I'm just watching.
if you're just watching it, the 8370, I'm trying to think, what year did that come out? 8370.
Or about 2013 maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that old to me. Well, it is only 1.4 gig, isn't it? It is pretty slow.
No, it's 4 gig.
Is it 4 gig? Well, I guess
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong thing here online. 8370, that's the FX 8370. 4.3 gigahertz turbo. It's an AM3 plus socket. 8 mega cache. Honestly, I would think that would do the job. I'm shocked to hear that it's not doing it for you.
It's not.
Strange. So 265 HEVC isn't working. Well, I would think any modern CPU will do the trick. Anything modern, you know, i5 or above, any of the Ryzen chips should do it.
Okay, well that's good news because I don't really want to buy a Threadripper. I don't have the money.
Well, you can't buy one right now anyway. They're not for sale.
Yeah, it'll be about 3 weeks, I guess.
And then even then, it'll be brand new, and then you'll have to deal with all the bugs for the next 6 to 12 months, with BIOS updates and everything else to fix all the problems. So I would avoid being a pioneer with new technology unless you know you're into that sort of thing. But for me, let's see. Somebody's looking on the chat saying $199 for the Ryzen 1600.
Okay. Well,
But-
thank you.
Yeah, again, anything Core i5 or above, or any of the Ryzen chips, I think you'd be fine with. But you will have to replace your motherboard.
Oh yeah, buy DDR4 as well.
Yeah. Well,
About $1,000, I thought, if I got lucky.
you could probably do it for under 1,000, depending on how much RAM you want to put in. But again, depending on which CPU, which motherboard, which RAM, I think you could be anywhere from 600 to 1,000.
Okay, Kerry. Well, thank you a lot.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Bye.
Bye now. Yeah, I'm kind of shocked to hear that. Again, the X265 stuff, I haven't had much luck on playback. I use VLC, the open source media player, to watch video locally on any PC. I prefer that program because it just seems to open everything. And it seems to really struggle with that 265, the HEVC stuff. Thank you for the corrections in the chat room and the suggestions there. It's tough to keep a lot of this fresh on my mind. So many details. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hey, Mr. Kelly, I called in on the show number 8. I forgot to give you my name. I forgot to give you the state I was in. My name is Joseph Skolich, and the state I'm in is Arkansas, Yellville, Arkansas.
And you got anything on your mind today? You got any questions for me today?
Yes, I do.
All right, fire away.
I'm looking for somewhat of an outdated processor. It's an AM3 Plus.
Yeah.
I need.
And?
Do you have any that you can sell or no?
Oh, I don't sell any parts.
Okay.
Yeah, I just build them. I don't sell the parts. I just sell my time.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for the call.
You're welcome. Like I said before, I built a bunch of computers in my past. It's fun. I specialize in the hardware.
That's awesome. Keep it up.
I will.
All right.
Like you said earlier today, it's hard trying to get the customers.
For some people it's hard, for some people it's easy.
For me, it's hard.
Yeah.
I got a couple customers already, but whenever they get done, it's to get more.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of being in business.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, hey, thanks again for the call.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that is, I think a lot of people, myself included, don't really consider how you get the work. They just think about doing the work. I'm a tech. I can do this work. But the question is, where do you get the work? How do you acquire the work? That's the nut you've got to crack. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Ron.
Hey, Ron, what's going on?
I just had one question.
Sure.
With the cables from my power supply, should I shove them in one place in my PC? Like, because I think I told them you shouldn't do that. But
It's your computer. You can do whatever you want. Mostly people do it for looks. They're trying to make the cables hidden as much as possible. But if you don't care about that, then think about how easy or how difficult your computer is to diagnose when things go wrong if you have cables just willy-nilly all over the place. You're the one who's got to work on it if it goes, has a problem. So think about that when you want to tie up your cables. Think about what's going to be easiest for you, and if it's important to you and how it looks, what's going to look the best. Some cases have case windows and you're going to show that stuff off. Maybe you don't want to do that. Other cases don't have case windows. Nobody's going to see inside of it but you. So it's really an independent decision for you to make depending on the type of case you have, how many cables you have, and what your priorities are.
okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I thought you said in one of the videos, you're not supposed to do that because something about it would create something about it was dangerous. But yeah.
No, I mean, the only thing that would be dangerous is if you tried running the cables behind the motherboard on a case that wasn't designed for that, where there's not enough room, and then you could end up pinching the cables when you put the cover back on, and it'll create electrical short, could cause a fire, even an electrocution. So basically you want to, if your case is designed for cable management, take advantage of it. If it isn't, then, straighten out your cables in the way that meets your priority with regards to making it easier to fix when it breaks and what's going to look good to you if that's important. So,
okay.
Yeah, there's no real right or wrong way. I mean, you're the one who has to live with the consequences, nobody else.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the call.
Bye.
Bye now. Yeah, I think that too many people are stuck on this, there's only one way to do it. And the whole benefit of building your own computer is that you can do it any way you want. You don't have to do things a certain way. You don't have to build in the same order I build in. You don't have to use the same parts I use. You don't have to run your cables the same way I run my cables. You get to express yourself. But if you've never done it before and you don't know what you're doing, my videos are a great thing to follow along with to ensure that your end result is going to match the end result on the video, assuming that's what you're after. But when you've gained some confidence in it, express yourself. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, this is Stephen from Grand Rapids.
Hey, Stephen, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm fantastic. Always happy to talk to a fellow Michigander. What's on your mind?
Oh, yeah, so I was the one who posted to the Facebook page about a week or so ago with the heat sink at that old LJ775 board. And I just wanted to say that I did choose one, and it was a bit difficult to install because they don't give you instructions.
Yeah.
If my mind serves me correct, it was the Thermaltake PL047 cooler for that particular style motherboard.
And you got it installed and working?
Yeah. I mean, it took a while, but I did get it installed, and the computer's working good now.
Good. Yeah.
Now, if I recall, didn't you say at one point installing the stock heat sinks for that particular type of socket motherboard, was it always a pain to install?
Not the OEM ones. The OEM ones are easy. It's the aftermarket ones that are difficult.
Because
Like if you would have gone with a standard Intel OEM 775 socket, you just push 4 tabs down and you're done. When you go to a third party heatsink, then you have to follow whatever procedure they require in their build process. Some instructions are better than others, or some don't come with any. And when they copy each other, they sue each other. So they all try and do it differently to avoid a lawsuit. So that's what you get into when you get into these third-party manufacturers of heat sinks. But if you stick to it, you take your time, generally it all makes sense when it's done. And it only has to be done once, generally. And then you should be good to go for a number of years.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, great. Well, I'm glad that worked out for you.
All right.
Hey, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye now.
Bye.
Yeah, I haven't used a Thermaltake fan in a long time. Haven't really been a fan of their fans. They haven't really been known to be extraordinarily cool, to offer better cooling than other alternatives that you've seen me use, like the Hyper Evo 212 or the all-in-one coolers from Corsair and NZXT. And for the price, the Hyper 212 Evo is like $35. And I think that works on a socket 775. It is a bit of a bear. I mean, you guys have seen my videos in the past where I've installed 3 or 4 of those, and I struggle on every single one. So, but that's why you got to enjoy the process. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name? You guys have seen my videos. Hello? Yeah, so if you want to call 480-271-2092. Trying to look and see how much time I've got left. Not much. I can't read it from here, but it maybe just about 10 minutes are left here. Hi, caller, you're on the air. Who's this?
This is John.
Hey, Don, what's going on?
My question is, how come you don't have your own storefront, your own commercial store? Why do you work out of your kitchen?
Oh, I don't work out of my kitchen. The kitchen's being done for filming.
I thought you worked out of your house.
Sometimes. So my business is a private business. I'm not open for just anybody to call me up. Just like if you wanted Cesar Millan to train your dog, good luck. You know,
Right.
it's a private business where, and the reason it's done that way is I don't want to hire employees. I can't deal with the influx of the amount of customers that would reach out to me. I'm barely able to keep up with the work I've got now. So it's a private business, and I have customers that are on retainers, and they have nothing to do with the video channel. People think that, a lot of people don't understand the difference between what I'm doing and what other YouTubers do. There's a lot of other YouTubers that make a living from YouTube. I don't make enough money from YouTube to make a living from it. I do it out of the passion that I want to share my knowledge, and it ultimately costs me more money to make the videos than the videos generate in revenue. It's actually a losing thing for me financially, but I do it because I enjoy it. But I don't want you to think for 1 minute that my business has run out of my kitchen. It's not. No. What you're seeing is what I offer for free to the world, and hoping to educate them about what it's like to be a computer tech, the types of things you deal with, and share my knowledge with the world for free for anybody who wants it. And the kitchen is a well-lit, open, roomy place. I would not take you to my office. The office is a huge mess. It wouldn't show that off. So anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Well, thanks for the call.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I think people make too many assumptions. They see a video, they see a consistency of this guy always films here, so therefore he must do everything. It doesn't work like that. I assure you, the kitchen is used as a kitchen, and so anytime I'm done filming, all the stuff has to get put away so that people can cook and eat in the kitchen. And then when I want to film again, all that has to be cleared out, and then all the camera equipment, everything has to be set back up, and everything has to be put back where it was, so there's continuity, so you guys can't tell. I even put on the same clothes, so it looks like in the videos that take weeks to film that it's all happened in the span of whatever time that video is. And it's no different than how movies are made or how TV shows are made. It's unless you're seeing something live, there's a lot of editing, a lot of reshoots, all kinds of reasons for reshoots. Cameras, battery runs out, memory card runs out, lighting is bad, I said the wrong word, I forgot to put a part in, a part doesn't fit, it goes on and on and on. Sometimes I even have to take things back apart and reshoot to accommodate that the flow of the video flows the way it's supposed to. And I'd like to get away from that. It's exceptionally time consuming. Doing the stuff live is a lot better, but with a static, non-moving camera, it's a little bit tedious to watch. So I'm hoping to get somebody here that can move the camera around it. If I can do that, I'd like to do a live build, but it's going to require, as I mentioned, it's going to require somebody moving around with the camera as I shift and move. They need to be able to get around me because, as you've seen from other attempts I've done, I end up blocking the camera. And it's a lot of work for one person to do. But again, I do it because I enjoy it, and I'm hoping to try that, with the camera being moved around. It's going to be a little tricky, but we'll see how it goes. But something to look forward to, I hope. A live build where the camera can move and you can actually see what I'm doing. That'd be great for everybody. I don't have to worry about editing, and mistakes that are made will have to be dealt with live. So, all right, I think we got time for about one more call. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name? One more call. So somebody who wants to stay on the phone and talk to me versus calling and hanging up. And just kind of looking what's going on through messages. Again, I can't really address your messages on air. So I appreciate if you want to call and talk to me, call and talk to me. If you can leave a comment in the video, of course, or you're welcome to call now. Hi, caller, you're on the air. What's your name?
Yes, my name is Sharad. I was wondering, tomorrow I'm going to build a system for my friend. I was wondering, should I go with AMD, the new Ryzen CPUs, or do I stick with the Intel Core i7 or Core i5?
It's sort of like asking me what brand of car you should buy. Should I buy a Ford? Should I buy a Chevy? Should I buy a Nissan? Should I buy a Toyota? It's really your decision.
Yeah, but what do you recommend for the current benchmarking and
I'd have to talk with the client for about an hour or an hour and a half before I could make a recommendation. I have to get to know the client. I have to understand what their budget is. I have to understand what their expectations are. I have to understand what their future needs are that they foresee. I have to understand what software they're going to be using or how they plan on using the computer. There's a lot of factors I have to converse back and forth with the client before I can recommend anything. I can't just tell somebody you should buy a sports car when you've got a family of 7 and I didn't know. And I'm not going to tell somebody you should buy an SUV that seats 8 people and gets 12 miles to the gallon when it's just you. I can't recommend a hybrid or an electric car to somebody who lives out in the middle of the woods. I have to get to know somebody. And that's a big mistake that happens on the internet today is people are dealing out free advice left and right without asking the person that they're giving the advice to any questions qualifying the advice. When they give you that advice like that, they're telling you what they want, but you don't know them any better than they know you. And since you're talking about spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, I just wouldn't spend my money based on what some stranger told me. That's just me.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, hey, thanks for the call. Yeah, that's, I've talked about that before. It's crazy to me that people could work so hard to save up their money and then go, tell me how to spend it. You should do that research and decide what's the right chip for you. I've mentioned before, I'm very hopeful for the Ryzen processor, but it's too new for me to recommend right now. Over time, we'll see how it pans out. It's getting better with every update. And of course, Threadripper's coming out and the Intel Core i9 is coming out. And if you wait, there's always another one coming out. So you'll wait forever. You'll never make a decision because as soon as one thing comes out, you heard the next thing's coming out. At some point, you have to commit. And you commit to the thing that is going to last you the longest amount of time that fits in within your budget and meets your expectations. And everybody's different. And again, that's the beauty of building your own computer is you build it to your needs, your wants, your desires, not somebody else's. And everything you need to know is right here. You just have to push the buttons. You can compare CPUs, you can compare GPUs, you can look up the specs and the recommendations of whatever game you plan to play. Do you plan to play it on one monitor or two monitors? You're going to be on 4K? Do you want all the bells, whistles, and features turned on? And if so, what graphics card is going to be best for that specific game? Now, it may be different for another game, and you may have to choose which one is more important to you. And then, of course, you've got your budget to consider. These are all things that you need to do your research on, and it's totally worth it. Or you pay somebody, a consultant, to sit down and talk to you. And I charge $125 for that, to sit down and talk with you. We typically do it over phone or over Skype. The conversations last from 90 minutes to 2 hours. Sometimes they can be done in under an hour. It's pretty unusual when that happens because there are so many questions I have to ask. So just keep that in mind. The best person for you to rely on is yourself. When you want something done right, do it yourself. And nobody cares more about your computer than you do. And that's the way it's always going to be. But feel free to look up reviews, look up the specifications and recommendations that are of any particular applications or games that you plan on playing, and what settings you plan on playing them in, and what you're expecting to get back in return. If you're only going to be playing in 1080, you're only going to go HD and you're not going any higher than that, you can get away a lot cheaper. But on the other hand, some people, may be playing racing simulators or flight simulators, and they want multiple screens and they want them in 4K. And you need a pretty powerful rig, you need to spend some big bucks. Other people are using their computer for business. They don't care about any of that stuff. Other people want to show their computer off and brag about it. And they want lights and they want RGB, they want all of this flashiness. And other people want something to be portable. And yet other people want something with a lot of storage. And some other people want something that just sticks in a corner somewhere. Nobody's ever going to see it and they don't care. They just want it to be quiet. Some people want an HTPC and they want it to be as small as possible, as quiet as possible, to put in an entertainment area, in the living room or something where they can watch TV and not be distracted by a big box with blinking lights, have it out of sight and out of mind. So there's all different kinds of PCs to meet all different kinds of needs. And you're making a huge mistake by assuming people automatically know what you want. So when you say, which CPU should I buy? You're setting yourself up for some other person to actually answer that question without asking you any questions. And then you might as well flip a coin, because the information that you're getting for free on the internet is worthless. It is absolutely worthless to you without that much background information of asking you all of those questions and more about, again, your budget, your expectations, the types of applications that you're going to run, the types of games you're going to run, the settings you're going to run it at, if you're going to be planning on upgrading, how much storage you need. If you're a photographer or you're collecting digital media, you need a lot more storage, versus if you're somebody who does mostly everything online, you're going to stream everything, it goes around and around and around. And then maybe you want to take that extra money and maybe have an M.2 drive. But on the other hand, maybe that's not important to you. Maybe the money is more important to you and you can wait 5 more seconds to save $400. It just goes on and on. I can keep going with this example for hours. But I hope you get the idea of what I'm trying to convey here. It's oversimplifying something that, in my opinion, you should be taking pride in. If you're thinking about building your own computer, picking the parts is part of that process. It's not intimidating. It's not difficult. The only reason you may think so is because you've never done it before. And like I say, you can go to places where you can compare one CPU to the other. You can compare one GPU to the other. GPUboss.com is a great site to go to compare one graphics card against another. And then, of course, reading the reviews from the sites that sell the products, using websites that help you assemble a PC so you know you're getting compatible parts, like PC Part Picker can assist you in that, or paying somebody to consult with you and expect that to take at least an hour and a half. Anybody who can do it in less than that, in my opinion, isn't asking you enough questions before they're offering the advice. And that advice is going to be worth less to you. It's frustrating to me that I know, to me, $2,000 is a lot of money. So when somebody who has a $2,000 budget or a $1,500 budget, that's all the money they have. And I want to make sure that they're buying the parts that they need, not the parts I need, not the parts somebody else needs, the parts they need. And that's every part. I got to talk about the case, the power supply, the graphics card, the amount of memory, the type of CPU, the type of cooling system, whether or not there's an optical drive, what kind of storage we're going to have, SSD, M.2, hard drive. I have to ask all these questions in order to determine what combination is going to fit that budget and at the same time meet the needs of the person that they're going to be happy with their purchase and they're going to want to come back again. So when you're asking somebody on the internet, what should I buy? There's no incentive for them to give you correct answers. They have no liability, they have no accountability, and they don't care if you come back again. They didn't make any money from it, and they're telling you ultimately what they want. This is what I think is better, but you're not them. So anyway, I appreciate you guys participating in the show today. That's going to wrap it up. Give that Windows scammer a call. The number, one more time, is the 800, there it is, 756-4914. They'll tell you your Windows license is expired. There's no such thing. They'll block your caller ID and tell you the number's disconnected. That's a fake message. Spoof your caller ID. If you don't know how to do that, Google it. And have some fun with these guys. Record your sessions, upload them to YouTube. Expose the scammers with me. It's a lot of fun. And I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you all again very, very soon. Until then, bye for now.